A coworker of mine once referred to us, special education teachers, as jacks of all trades and masters of none. She said this because we were working with many different disciplines of students and many different educational disciplines. So I might work with students who had learning disabilities, emotional impairments, etc., and I might be helping support math and science and social studies and English, art, you name it. It's because of this that I often reflected on where my students were. I had to do a lot of in-the-moment formative assessment. A student would come to me and they need help with math, but they were lacking certain skills or not grasping certain concepts that they should have already known by the time they were a freshman, sophomore, whatever. So I got used to trying to assess what the gaps were so I could fill in the gaps and we could try and push forward into the math and complete it. And by the end of the year, hopefully have a strong enough grasp to be able to pass the final exam and complete all the homework along the way. With that, I thought to come up with a survey to assess just in general where my students that I'm working with now are. What I mean when I say where they are now, I mean emotionally, perceptionally. Where are they with their perception of mathematics? What kind of emotional response do they have when they know they have to do math? This is important because I'm in a self-contained classroom with emotionally impaired students. And the emotional obstacles are difficult because obviously there are things going on in their lives that affect their ability to interact. But if math is adding to that, or if any subject for that matter is adding to that, then it makes it all that more difficult when they go to do that subject. My assessment, or survey as I've called it, is set up to give the students an opportunity to reflect on how they feel, what they think of when they hear the words math or see certain concepts in front of them like fractions or certain vocabulary. My thought process was that I would be able to take the students for where they are, kind of get a general feel of what concepts are going to cause anxiety or slow them down, or might they feel they're going to fail at, and in turn create situations in the learning environment that might be tense. And because I'm aware of the challenges or their perceived challenges with certain concepts, I can intervene and help them at that time, step in and be of a support. So I've got 36 questions here, and I'll start with the directions and then kind of scroll through the 3 different sections. The following survey has been created to help me have a better understanding of your ability and comfort levels in relation to mathematics. This survey will only assess some of your general knowledge about math and will be used specifically to help me help you become a better math student and move toward your goal of graduation. After I've had time to review and reflect on your survey responses, we will have a one-to-one session to discuss them and what I can do to make your math experience exceptional. From there, I went on with the assessment. It's 36 questions, which might seem like it's a bit many, but when you get into the nature of the questions and realize that they're very brief, the students basically will go through multiple choice. The only one that really requires them to write is the first one that says what words or thoughts come to mind when you hear the word math. As I continue through the survey, just kind of multiple choice, rating scales, things of that nature. You're asking the students their comfort level with certain types of math, how they feel their skills are, their competence level, dealing with positive and negative numbers, their thoughts on fractions. The next section talks about vocabulary, basically asking the students what a particular word means, and they go through the multiple choice and identify those. Then talks about story problems and fractions, improper fractions, mixed numbers. And the reason I did all this was not to see if the students had the skills to be independent, but to see if they had some of the basic ideas or general knowledge to be able to do math without super high levels of anxiety. And if I knew a student wasn't good at fractions, then when we had a problem with fractions, I could either omit it or I could step in and make sure I'm helping that student with that problem at that time. Some of the other concepts here, orders of operations. As you notice, this middle section's a bit longer, but the other thing that I thought of was with story problems. Maybe a student's a decent reader, but he or she doesn't understand any of the concepts with things like coefficient and things of that nature. So again, you go further down, and I put some sentences in and had the students identify what was being done in the sentences. The terms that might mean to add or multiply, subtract, divide. And as they go through, they do that, and then I can go back and review it, and I can sit and talk with the student, and we can discuss what it is that they're going to need support with as we go through the school year.